Hello, Rachel Adams here. Today I wanted to do a quick demo for a bridal look. I have some people asking me, and so I thought I would just whip one together for you real quick. So before you start, you need to put the Glorious Face and Eye Primer all over your face. This is such a crucial step because it's really just going to set the foundation. I'm going to use a MAC paint pot in the color Soft Ochre to set over the Glorious Primer on your eyelids only. And just a thin layer will really just help that eyeshadow last all day for your big day. I'm going to set that with the concealer in the color Fresh. This is a unique pigment concealer. You're just going to want to use a fluffy brush and just sweep a thin layer over that soft ochre color. This is just going to lay, like I said, a very smooth foundation for your eyeshadow to apply easily. Next, we're going to use the color Beautiful. This is a matte shade, and it is a light, very natural, neutral color. We're going to just work this into the crease. You don't really need to go much higher than the crease, and you don't really want to go any lower than the crease. This is just going to be our transitioning color. Again, this sits on the bare lid, and this is just we're going to be able to blend this color out with the colors that we stack on top of it. So because it's a matte, it can sometimes be a little difficult. You're going to want to use the big shader brush, the deluxe shader brush, and you're just going to want to blend back and forth in windshield wiper motions, and you can also do small circular motions as you go back and forth. So the aim for this is to just get a nice even thin coverage over both eyes. If you need to, depending on your eye shape, you can put your finger slightly on the eyebrow and just tug, pulling it just a little taut. You don't want to be rough or pull too tightly, but you can just get that that canvas nice and taut. Now we're going to do the same exact thing for this second eye. And you can see that this color is very natural color. It's not very noticeable, and that's what we're kind of going for. It's just a transitioning color, like I said. So we're going to build upon this, and this color is going to help really just blend it evenly. So as I said, the next phase is just blend, 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 blend. There's a reminder. Just keep blending. Blending is going to be the key for any successful look, but especially on your big day. Okay, next I'm using a big fluffy brush. You can also use the deluxe brush if it is cleaned off. And this part we're just blending. So everything that we just did with the color Beautiful, now we're just kind of smearing it around all through the eyelid, up onto the brow bone. So what happens is we really got our definition into the crease of the eye, but now we're just anything that's loose or any harsh lines, we're just dusting that off. And you can see it seems like we're almost filling in. But this brush has nothing on it, so again, it's just a blending back and forth. Next, we're going to go in with the color Sexy. This is a shimmery champagne type of a color. And we're going to go in with the smaller shader brush. It's kind of flat, and this is the one that's on the opposite end of the liner brush. You're just going to tap this in right underneath the eyebrow. So just really just highlighting that arch. You're not using a ton of product, but just enough. Now we're going to go in with a nice warm brown. This is also a matte color, and it's the color called Irresistible. Again, with the shader brush, we're going to still be using that small shader brush, and we're just going to pack this into the crease. This is a slightly darker color, so it'll be more noticeable than the Beautiful was before, and we're just going to pack it into the lash line, into the just kind of the V of your eye, of the outer eye. So the crease all the way across to the inner, and then down on the lash line, just creating that nice V. And so you're just going to I always like to go in and kind of etch out where I'm going to put the color and then blend it in. So I just kind of make those lines so I can clearly see the area that I'm going to be working with, and then I just start blending. So you can see over here I'm etching out that crease and then bringing it down across the lash line. Again, this is not a very, very dark color, so and it won't be the last color that we see, so you can move quickly and you can move without being super, super precise, because you're going to be covering up a lot of this area, all the area on the eyelid. So the most important is just really getting the amount of color that you want. It's less important, how precise you are at this point. Now we're going back in with the color Sexy. So this is the color that we just put underneath our eyebrow. We're going to be using this color now on the inner lid. Again, the most important thing to do is just to kind of pat this color onto the lid. I start right at the lash line and work my way up to the crease so that the most color is right there on the lash line. And you'll see I'm just patting, then slightly brushing, but mostly just patting. Patting will just help ensure that the color really gets into every little crease. We're going to go over this again with a wet brush, but so for right now this is again more of a transitioning color, just setting the lid to be prepared for what we're going to do. Next we're going to take that same fluffy brush that we used before, and we're really just going to start to blend. So again, blending is going to be the key. I can't stress that enough. And for most people who aren't, you know, doing eyeshadow or bridal looks every day, that this is really crucial. Now we're going in with a matte chocolate brown. This has almost got some gray components. It's a really pretty color. It might seem a little dark for your wedding, but you need to remember that your wedding, you have to have darker makeup than you actually would anticipate, because you're going to be taking photos. And so if you have really light natural makeup, it's not going to show up in photos like you have any makeup on. So if you go a little darker, it's going to look very natural and very normal in person and in your photographs, which is the most important thing. So think of it a little bit like stage makeup, although this is not at all like stage makeup, but on a stage, you know, the actresses or actors have to wear a ton of makeup so that the audience doesn't see really, can just see their face, but they don't really see a ton of makeup. So I'm going to really focus on putting this, I'm using the pencil brush for this as well, and you're really just going to put this in the crease. This is not going to be an all over color because it is dark and it is a matte color, so blending again is crucial, but really you're focusing only on the crease and that outer V to the lash line, and just blend. Again, windshield wiper motions from the outer corner into the inner corner, back and forth is really going to be the key. And then, you know, I sweep it down over the lash line. You're going to want to use a big fluffy brush for this as well. If you don't have one, I recommend the Sigma brush. There's some good MAC ones. Just any brush that's going to be kind of a rounded tip and really fluffy. So blending. And again, don't forget, we're going to cover up some of this area. So even though it looks dark now, it doesn't look dark at the end. I promise. It's my number one most asked question. Is it going to look too dark? I don't want to look too dark. It's my wedding. I want it to look natural. I promise it will look very natural and very beautiful. Now I'm going to use the rose water, and I'm going to spritz the liner shader brush on the shading side, and then tap into the color Sexy again. So Sexy is really our go-to color. Now that this we're getting the brush wet so that this color really adheres to both the eyelid, and also anytime you get a pigment color wet, you're going to get a much stronger, much more bold color. So we really want this area right at the lash line to be prominent, because when her eyes are open, this is going to be a very noticeable section. It's small, but it's really noticeable, so it really can make a large impact. So again, I kind of just work in that color, and once I've got it kind of all over the eyelid, then I'm going to just go back in and pat it over. You might want to touch up some of the under eye. You don't want too much. Again, I wouldn't re-dip my brush for anything under the eye, but just whatever's remaining on the brush. And again, patting is the key right here. Just get a nice thick layer of this really shimmery color. It's so beautiful. Next, I'm going to go in with the shimmery gold. This color is called Gorgeous, and it is gorgeous. So I'm going to go in with the deluxe shading brush that's all clean, and you're going to just slightly tap a little bit of color on, and just really just kind of go over that crease. So where we put that color Irresistible, which was the darkest color we used, now we're just going to tap a little bit of this color over that. This will kind of mute it out, but add a nice golden natural hue, and it is such an important step. It's not a long step. It's not that noticeable as you're doing it, but in the end result, it is very noticeable. So once you've really gotten it into that crease, whatever's left, I don't re-dip my brush, but whatever's left, mostly your brush is pretty much empty. I just kind of sweep it over the brow bone. Now I'm going to go in with the shade Bisque. This is the BB Flawless Cream, and it is amazing for your big day. Remember that we prepped the face already with the Glorious face primer before we started, so our face is all ready to go. I'm using a flat top kabuki brush. You can use any brush. You can use your hands. You can use whatever you want. This is just a brush I prefer because it's quick and it gets a lot of product on your face quickly. You're going to want to make sure that you sweep all over your face. You don't have to pay too much attention directly under your eye, but you can just get it all over. This brush is also really good at making sure it gets in all the fine lines and it doesn't streak, which is why it's so great. This is a Sigma brush. They also have It Cosmetics at Ulta sells a wannabe brush like this that works just as well. Also, any flat foundation brush will be fine. Now I'm going to use the other BB Flawless color. I'm going to use the lightest color in cream, and I'm going to really focus underneath the eye. So this is going to be our set. This is going to serve as our concealer. So you're going to want to use a stippling motion, just kind of dabbing back and forth underneath this eye area, because you do not want any bags and you don't want any discoloration. You're also going to focus in at the chin, the bridge of your nose, and a little bit in between your eyes on your forehead. Not too much, again, you're just stippling. This is just creating just a nice glow. The highlight should really just touch your face wherever the light touches your face. So again, kind of in your T-zone, underneath your eyes, and a little bit above your cheekbones. Now, once we've done this step with the brush, this is where the blending buds come in. These little guys are going to be your best friend. So, because the BB cream is a little wet, this goes in and really just pushes the product into your face, into your pores, into the fine lines, everything, and creates just such an even, flawless face. These things are amazing. So you're going to want to definitely focus in from your inner eye and work out, and then from in between your eyebrows, work up. Now I'm going in with the powder in the color Organza. And I'm using our big powder brush. This brush is so nice because it's dense and the bristles are soft, and it just covers a lot of your face in one sweep. So it's really nice that way. We're not doing too much powder, just really setting. So anything that was wet or tacky from the foundation, we're just making sure it now looks dry and flawless. And you can see even with the very, very light coating of this, already her skin is starting to look dewy and porcelain-like, and it's so pretty. Now we're going in with the angled side of the liner shader brush. I love this brush. I'm going to dip this in. I'm going to spray it with the rose water, and then I'm dipping it into the color Corrupted, which is a dark black. And I'm just going to line. You're not going to want to make too much of a line, just really follow that lash line. We just want a thin line across your eyes. Nothing too showy, nothing too thick, just a little bit. This is just going to add some depth and dimension, and especially when it comes to photos, you want your eyes to pop. These are the photos that last you a lifetime, so it's really important. So again, this is called tight lining, when you just really are working in at the lash line. You can redip as needed. Also make sure that the angle of the brush, that the tallest point of this brush is going away from the direction, so it should be pulling. Okay, now I'm going to go in with some bronzer. I'm using the color Malibu. I use a flat brush. It's called the Ida brush from NARS. You can use any brush. Any angled brush will work just fine. This brush I just like because it really gets a nice contour. So you're going to focus in at the cheekbone. This again is going to be any contour. So wherever the shadow, if you're standing in the sun, your highlight goes wherever the sun is hitting your face, and this should be going wherever the shadows. So underneath your cheekbone, at your temples, the side of your forehead, etc., underneath your jaw. Now I'm going back in with the Concealer Fresh. This is the one that we used on our eyelids earlier, and just any old fluffy brush, and I'm really just going to, again, set that concealer. Remember, this is where we use the BB cream in the cream color. This is the lightest color, and this is just going to be a little bit lighter of a powder than just the regular face powder. Again, really just setting this for an all-day wear. So maybe this seems like a lot of steps, but trust me, this is necessary. Now I'm going to go in with our bright pink blush. This is the perfect bridal blush. I can't say it enough. It may look overwhelming and a little bit like Barbie doll, but this is such a beautiful color, especially for a fresh-faced bride. Next, we're going to do the 3D Fiber Lash Mascara. I'm not going to show you really too much of it in this video. However, I will link the in-depth tutorial of the 3D Fiber Lash application below so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. Especially for your bridal day, you want to just make sure that you work slowly and just really precisely. You don't want clumps and you don't want, spider lashes. And this mascara, honestly, is such a perfect option. If you don't want to go the route of false lashes, which a lot of brides do, and that's okay too, but I prefer the really natural look. I just think it looks more like you, and it's just so beautiful. So, she's prepping her lashes. We're getting on those fibers, extending the length, and then we're going to go to the lip. I'm using the color Pouty, which is our nude lip liner. I'm just going to line the lips, and I like to do an outer line and then just kind of drag that color down across the lip. So I sort of like to just fill in the lip. Not fully, and it definitely doesn't need to be precise, but I don't like to just have one harsh line. I think that it blends out and it lasts a lot longer if you fill the lips in. Again, it's a nude color and it is just so beautiful. Now I'm going to use our nude lip gloss in the color Luxe. You don't need too much lip gloss, and this is really something you really shouldn't apply until you are literally about to walk down the aisle. So have this in your bag and just smack on a little bit of it. This is just going to add a nice shine, a nice gloss, but it's not going to be goopy or sticky. And here you have it. This is the final result. Our bridal look is so amazing, it's so stunning, it's so natural, it's not overwhelming, and it's just really the perfect look for your big day. So thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe.